Again, News 1 Now is in Miami this week, of course, for the American Black Film Festival, but because of flight issues yesterday, I was unable to make it, but I'll be there today, so we'll be broadcasting from there tomorrow. Now, folks, this morning, the jury heads to day 4 of deliberations over the fate of 79-year-old comedian Bill Cosby in his sexual assault trial. Yesterday, the jury asked to hear portions of accuser Andrea Constand's testimony. She testified for more than 7 hours over 2 days last week. The jury wanted a portion of her comments about the night of the alleged attack read back to them. They also want to hear a portion of a police officer's testimony about Cosby's 2005 interview with investigators at his attorney's office. The jury has been deliberating since Cosby's lawyers abruptly ended their case on Monday after just 6 minutes and calling one witness. Cosby is charged with 3 counts of aggravated indecent assault, each carry maximum sentence of 10 years. He, of course, has pleaded not guilty, has repeatedly denied allegations of wrongdoing. Now, folks, all hell broke loose at the Southern Baptist Convention in Phoenix over a resolution proposed by Reverend Dwight McKissick of Arlington, Texas, to denounce white supremacy. The proposed resolution condemned nationalism and called on the Southern Baptists to reject the retrograde ideologies, xenophobic biases, and racial bigotries of the so-called alt-right that seek to subvert our government, destabilize society, and infect our political system. Initially, the resolution committee declined to consider the proposal because it used inflammatory language. Reverend McKissick had this to say on the floor of the convention.
He said it's inflammatory language. He's allowed to attack this resolution from the floor of the Southern Baptist Convention, and I'm not allowed to respond. I am shocked that this would be permitted. Did you hear the applause from the floor of the convention? Why would they even discuss once it was resolved, once it was over? I'm not sure how they got back into this discussion. This is horrible.
After significant backlash, the committee changed course yesterday and passed a revised statement condemning the alt-right. Tomorrow, Reverend McKissick will join us right here on News 1 Now TV 1. Folks, the city of Miami Gardens, Florida has the distinction of being the largest predominantly African-American city to be incorporated by blacks. The city of 112,000 residents is home to historically black Florida Memorial University and the Jazz in the Gardens Music Festival, which draws tens of thousands of people to Miami Gardens every year. Also, it, of course, was the home of Roland Martin. In 2014, residents approved a $60 million bond package to redevelop the city's parks with facilities that focus on STEM, education, arts, athletics, and entertainment. Joining us right now is the mayor of Miami Gardens, Oliver Gilbert. Mayor, welcome to News 1 Now TV 1.
Thank you. Good morning, Roland. Thanks for having me.
Well, first and foremost, I've been trying to, of course, talk to you here as well as on the Tom Joyner Morning Show for the last 4 years before we talk about the whole issue in terms of moving forward economically for Miami Gardens. I was bringing up that issue. But 4 years ago, you were in the national spotlight when it came to the issue of police abuse. You had significant problems with your police department. And so where do we stand with that? What has happened in these last 4 years? You were sued. The city was sued as well. You went through several police chiefs as well. And so where does Miami Gardens stand?
Well, you know what my style of leadership and where we're taking the city is to be proactive in these things. So we've got an implicit bias training for all of our officers. We're incorporating body-worn cameras, and we've had community police training for all of our officers. And we have a new initiative that we're actually sending our residents to Police Academy, because from my perspective, police are going to be your most expensive employee. Why not give young people in your community the opportunity to be law enforcement officers in their hometown? Look, I had the distinction of being not just the mayor of Miami Gardens, but the homegrown mayor of Miami Gardens. I went to elementary, middle, high school here. When I went to law school, I caught the bus from here. I think that people should have that opportunity, and it's working out. We have a new chief, the first woman chief in our history, Delma Pratt. Tons of experience, wonderful with the community, and very proactive with technology and training, understanding that we can be a safe community and a community that enforces laws and a community that partners with community-based leaders, civic organizations, businesses, because ultimately it's all of our jobs to actually keep the community safe.
And obviously, it had to have been a difficult issue to be the mayor of a black city, and then all of a sudden you have to contend with national headlines of racial profiling.
No, it really wasn't difficult because, one of the things that I noticed is that, it's like today. Today when we were driving over here to the site, there was going to be some rain. There's going to be rain, but right now the sun is shining. So there's going to be good days, there's going to be bad days. My job as mayor is to actually face every day, wake up every day as the hometown and do the very best I can every day with not just rhetoric, but actually real rational reasons, logic, plans, policy that provide our best path forward with regard to providing positive outcomes and systemic success. So a lot of times we react to problems. I've taken the position that we need to, without regard to who's in power at any given time, we need to actually have policies in place that at least allow us to move forward and to try to move forward in a good way.
One of the issues when you talk about having a growing city that's near a major city, and that is growing, is being able to build homeowner base as well. And so where do you stand when it comes to that? Because we see in other major cities across the country where bedroom communities are growing, sprouting up, and which have significant African Americans there. How are you also advancing that in terms of being able to build up home ownership in the city?
We have a fairly high home ownership rate in Miami Gardens. It's around 70%. One of the unique things about Miami Gardens is we're essentially, if I had to describe us, we're the working class, middle class home of most black professionals in South Florida and the largest black city in Florida itself. So we say 112, it's probably more like 120,000 people, most of which grew up in the area. They actually own their homes. We don't have a whole bunch of huge apartment complexes. We're a residential neighborhood, and we're built on a residential tax base. One of the things that we've done is not just have houses for black people, because that's what we had when we incorporated in 2003, but try to build businesses. Sometimes we don't pay attention to, we think just people living in neighborhoods creates a community. That's not it. It's people living in neighborhoods. It's the opportunity to spend your money in your neighborhood. It's your opportunity to spend your time in your neighborhood. It's the opportunity to go to church in your neighborhood. It's having mass transit in your neighborhood. It's providing activities for your kids in your neighborhood. So we have a large residential home base for African Americans, largely working class and middle class, white and blue collar. But what we're now trying to do is put everything else in place that makes it a community. Because from my perspective, when I leave as mayor, if they can say that there are businesses here now that weren't before, there's opportunities for children here now that weren't before, there's opportunities for you to be an entrepreneur and to advance in technology and green technology that wasn't here before. If I've done that, without regard to whatever else they say about me, I've moved my community forward, my hometown forward.
I think we got a question for one of the panelists there. Go right ahead. Do we have a question for one of the panelists there? If not, Mayor, I surely appreciate it. Thank you for joining us this morning. Okay.
Well, I'd just like to say that.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'd just like to say that I'm glad that the sportscasters broadcasting the Miami Dolphins game finally gives credit to the stadium being in Miami Gardens. For so long, they've been saying Miami, and that's a narrative that we've always wanted, that there is a black Miami, a progressive black Miami, and not the other images that we typically see of the people who we think make up Miami. So I'm just glad that when we're watching the game, that they're now saying that it's in Miami Gardens and not just Miami.
I definitely share that excitement as well. You remember the Super Bowl is going to be in Miami Gardens in 2020, right? So we're looking forward to that. We're here in Miami Beach celebrating ABFF, but Miami Gardens 20 minutes away. Hopefully maybe we can have some ABFF events in Miami Gardens.
I would love to do that. One of the things that we like to focus on is that the picture when people think of South Florida is Miami Beach. The brand is the city of Miami, but the residents in South Florida live in cities like Miami Gardens. They get up and they go to work and they build lives and families in cities like Miami Gardens. And while I have this national audience, let me just say, Roland, thank you for all that you do. And let me encourage everybody to really work all you can with kids. One of the things that we're doing in our parks program is trying to bring science, technology, engineering, mathematics, culinary arts, coding, because we understand that if we're going to actually build positive outcomes for kids 20 years from now, we actually have to do it right now. So we're putting recording studios and television production studios on our parks. because we want to provide that type of access to our kids. Actually, one of our school board members, Dr. Steve Gallen, is helping us because we're partnering with the school board. They're going to provide the instructors. We're going to build a facility, and we're going to hopefully help kids architect dreams that allow them to go and do great things and come back home and give back to their community.
All right, folks, we certainly appreciate it. Thank you so very much. Mayor, thanks a lot. Folks, when we come back, we will show you, of course, a preview of the red carpet of the movie Girls Trip. Plus, we'll talk to the cast of an upcoming TV One film, When Love Kills. All that next. News 1 Now, TV One.